The Global Citizen Now Summit returns to New York for a third year, bringing together more than 400 leaders in their field to work towards ending extreme poverty.
And our next guests are here to tell us more. Please welcome award-winning actor Danai Gurira and co-founder and CEO of Global Citizen Hugh Evans.
Woo! Good to see you guys.
Hugh, let's start with you. Talk to us about this summit and kind of what people can expect this year.
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having Danai and I on this morning. Really, Global Citizen Now is a two-day action summit designed to tackle the world's greatest challenges. And over the next few days, we have three big objectives. The first objective is to focus on protecting the Amazon, which is obviously the lungs of the planet. And so we have leaders from Brazil, and we're working to raise $1 billion ahead of the COP negotiations next year to try to reforest the Amazon rainforest. The second objective we're focused on is really about making sure that we focus on investment in Africa. So we're calling on the G20 nations to increase their investment to a fund called IDA by 25% so we can provide zero or low interest loans for 75 of the world's poorest countries. And finally, we're focused on supporting women and children in conflict and crisis zones. Recently, Danai gave the most inspiring speech at the UN Security Council focused on protecting women in conflict against violence. And we're going to be driving an action sprint through Global Citizen Now focused on that objective.
So Danai, how did you get involved in it? Why is this important to you?
Well, I'm a Zamerican. I'm a Zimbabwean American. And so I've always been connected to the issues connected to the women of Africa. And really a while ago, actually, I think it was about 17 years ago, I decided to write a play that dealt with these issues. Seeing women in war and the crosshairs of war is very rare. We just hear about the leaders and their decision making and the count, but you never hear about the women who really deal with the brunt of the issue and a lot of atrocity and brutality. So I wrote a play called Eclipsed based on the Liberian Civil War and got connected with people at the UN as a result of that. And so when this issue has been very important to me ever since, and very much so, unfortunately, has actually increased in number in terms of incidents and countries where this is happening across the world. And last week at the Security Council briefing, it was presented, and it was a very dire what we saw on the page in terms of how many countries are being very riddled with this issue and how many women and children are suffering in ways that are really unspeakable. So it really, it's an urgent problem that I'm very excited that we're going to give a lot of attention to, because the world needs to know it's happening and all the places it's happening, especially the countries that I grew up very close to, like the DRC, Congo, Sudan, and those are places we don't hear about that often.
And you talk, Hugh, about the three pillars or the three objectives. And the event itself, the summit, is obviously incredible. But if people can't actually be there, they're hearing about this or watching this, how can they get involved to help?
Great question.
Well, as Danai said, the first thing they can do is download the Global Citizen app and be part of that action sprint that Danai is championing, focus on violence against women in conflict zones. But they can also tune in from 3 o'clock today on ABC News Live and watch it all around the world, because we want this to be accessible to the 12 million global citizens around the world who want to take action day in and day out.
And do you think it's possible to end poverty in our lifetime?
Well, I absolutely believe it's possible to end extreme poverty, because Nelson Mandela said in his final speech in Trafalgar Square in 2005, he said that overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity, but it's an act of justice. And it takes all of us taking action. So I believe if all of us band together, we can see enormous progress on the eradication of extreme poverty. We could end extreme poverty within our lifetime.
Thank you both for joining us. The Global Citizen Now Summit takes place today and tomorrow in New York City, and you can go to their website to see how you can get involved.